This episode is brought to you by Squadcast, an anxiety-free way to schedule, record, and collaborate on podcasts. As a podcaster, one of the most important things when recording remote interviews is the quality of your guest audio. We know y'all hate when people sound like trash, so we make sure we try to give you the best experience possible. And while current solutions like Skype and Zoom are dependent upon the quality of your internet signal, Squadcast is a simple browser-based tool that requires no additional software to install. Your audio is recorded locally as studio quality WAV files, then magically uploaded to your session with zero audio drift, which is crucial when you're editing. So we've been rocking with them for a few weeks now, and we're loving the experience thus far. So to get started, hit up squadcast.fm and use the promo code EXTRA for your 14-day free trial. That's promo code EXTRA at squadcast.fm. Let's get it.
Fuck nigga free. The night, yeah, fuck nigga free in the day. My stress level's been all time low since I changed my ways, keeping my distance, Lord, keeping my distance from the bullshit. I'm not having it today. Yeah, fuck nigga free in the night. Fuck nigga free in the day. Check this out. Now you know I love me way more than you, 'cause I've been there before. Reclaiming my time, none left for you, can't go back anymore. Wait. Reclaiming my time, none left for you, can't go back anymore. Fuck nigga free in the night. Fuck nigga free in the day. In the day. Fuck nigga free.
And welcome to the latest installment of the Extraordinary Negroes. It is your boy, Jay Connor.
And this is Alex Hardy.
And I usually ask what you've been up to, but today, instead, I'm going to ask, what have you been reading, black man?
I actually I restarted 12 Tribes of Hattie by, I can't remember. I don't have a book in front of me. I can't remember. But anyway, it's a glorious book. It was on Oprah's book club. But anyway, it's a gorgeous writing. Follows the descendants of this woman, Hattie. Painful writing. It's really inspiring just in terms of storytelling as I'm trying to piece this memoir situation together. So and after that, actually, I'm going to be picking up An American Marriage by Tayari Jones that everybody's been buzzing about. And it's by Ayanna Mathis. I'm sorry, 12 Tribes of Hattie. But okay. Next on the list is American Marriage by Tayari Jones.
That's what's up. I've been deviating between two books. The first one is A Conspiracy of Stars by the illustrious, the incomparable Olivia A. Cole. I want to thank her for signing my copy. That's some dope shit. But yeah, if you're in the market for, a young adult fiction literature that's, sci-fi fantasy based and, has a heavily diverse cast of characters and, features a lot of, vibrant writing or whatever else, definitely check that out. But I've also been reading Francesca Ramsey's Well, That Escalated Quickly. We know her from MTV and her activism, her digital activism and everything. And the book is interesting because she talks about what it was like to become an overnight celebrity and her thoughts and opinions on race and digital activism and everything like that. So it's a really good good read. Definitely make sure that if you're a fan of hers, that you scoop that up on May 22nd. I want to take a moment to thank her for shooting that over.
Thank you.
And yeah, that's what I've been fucking with, man.
Yeah, I need to hit her up as well. I've been trying to get Thug Motivation together as I pull this book proposal together. I've been getting feedback from George Johnson as he goes through his process towards literary greatness as well.
I heard he's about to get the check, dog. I heard,
Yeah, man.
I heard he's about to get, that's the word on the grapevine, is that he's about to get the check. He's about to get a fat ass check.
Yeah, man. I'm waiting for that text of if that is going down so we can go celebrate with some Red Lobster or some shit like that. So
Word.
yeah.
Now, also for those listening, we've been knocking out panels and speaking engagements, and Alex had his wine and words, and get some joy and everything out of New York. I have my creative mixer in LA, but people keep asking me and asking us and hitting us up, wondering when are we doing our next live episode. I'm happy to announce that your prayers have been answered.
Heartbreaker on the track.
Our next live episode will be on April 28th at the Baltimore Convention Center as a part of Universal Fan Con. So yes, the rumors are true. Shout out to Jamie Broadnax and that whole team for inviting us and allowing us to be a part of, making history. You know what I'm saying? This is the first one. It's, the first con of its size and of its stature that's dedicated to the fans and fan culture. And it's going to have a whole shitload of people out there, all kinds of celebrities and big names in that space. So it's an honor to be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? But additionally, we do have a very special guest that's going to be a part of that. Alex, who we bringing along for the ride?
When we hit up Universal Fan Con, we are going to be joined by the illustrious Unique Jones of Because of Them, We Can. And also the new founder of Dream Village over in Hyattsville, Maryland. It's a dope co-working space that you should definitely check out.
Word. So yes, you heard right. We're going to have Unique Jones Gibson with us. Shh, it's a secret. Don't tell nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you keep a secret, my nigga? But yeah, she's going to be with us. It's going to be amazing. For those interested and are in the Baltimore DMV area, you can get tickets at universalfancon.com. For all the tickets and info, definitely make sure you come through, show us love. I got to hit up all my people up there. Tell them I just talked to Panama the other day and he was like, oh, dope. So yeah, it's going to be what's up.
Hit us with those crab cake recommendations.
Word. And also, that's not all we got going on this month. Alex, what else you got on deck?
If you were in the New York City area, will be speaking on the Rise of Podcast panel at Black Web Fest, which honors Black web content creators and media creators. It's going to be a dope 2-day celebration at the National Black Theater in Harlem. You should definitely check that out. I'm going to be there with some great people on this panel and a lot of dope other events and people I want to see speak and just people out here making shit happen. Black people out here moving and creating culture. And I'm excited to be among the speakers and those featured that day. So head to blackwebfest.com and come say hello.
Word. Definitely go through. If you're in New York, definitely come through and show Alex some love and support that. Because, like he said, it's important that, we have this representation within this digital diaspora. So it's going to be an amazing event. Wish I could be there, but unfortunately, I will not. Moving right along. Should we get to these reviews that we've been getting hit with?
Let's get it.
Casaurus? I think that's how you pronounce it.
I'm going to say Carsosaurus.
What the hell?
Carsosaurus says, I just started listening to podcasts and these guys are hilarious. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Catharsis.
Now that's fucked up.
Cacophony. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, we appreciate the love. Heather says, your chemistry and humor are unmatched and you guys always have the best guests. Thank you for keeping me both informed and entertained. Thank you, Heather. We try to mix it up and make sure we have people that are relevant to your daily life and that can improve your life situation and make this world a little less terrible for you. So we appreciate you listening.
Yeah, that's what we definitely pride ourselves on, being both entertaining and informative. So thank you for that. And I agree, our chemistry is unmatched. You niggas ain't fucking with us. You know what I'm saying?
You're goddamn right.
He's all right.
But yeah, shout out to all of you for showing us love, or I should say each of you, since there's only two of you. But shout out to the two of you for showing us love. And if you're listening and love what you're hearing as well, do the Lord's will and drop us that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts so we can shout you out on the show and you could spread love. You know what I'm saying? People love
podcasts. I do want to say I ran into another podcaster in the Black podcast diaspora last night. Sante from the Friend Zone. I ran into him at Trappy Hour last night. It's a Black homo thug happy hour situation here in Harlem. And I got to finally run and share some drinks and some laughs and two steps with him and Alex English. A wonderful comedian who writes for Robin Thieves. What's Robin Thieves show on BT?
I forgot the name of it. Yeah. I love her though. She's dope.
That show. He writes for that show. But shout out to both of them. It was my first time connected with him. I've always seen his face, and it was one of those like, oh, I know this nigga from somewhere, but it was good to finally connect with him and see and share some Black homo thug situations with him. So shout out to them. I
really like kicking it with other podcasters, man. I really like spending time with other podcasters and exchanging information and kind of understanding how they move and how we move and what I can learn from them. And I think that's dope, man. Yeah. I need more of that in LA. That's for damn sure. Because I know plenty of podcasters all over the place, but not so much in LA. Womp,
yeah,
womp.
I imagine. Isn't it like the community is kind of real spread out out there, I imagine.
That, and I just don't really know a lot of I know a lot of podcasters out here, especially Latinx community. But I don't really know too many Black podcasts. I know DJ Ben Amin is out here, and we've been trying to get up. We were just talking about getting up like last week. But outside of that, I don't really know too many Black podcasters out in LA. If you know a Black podcaster, or if you are a Black podcaster, hit me up, man. I need Black podcaster friends in LA. Yes. I got them everywhere else.
Show yourselves. Tag us. Say hello. Invite him to shit. He's lonely. He needs people to connect. Jay needs friends, y'all. Aww. Help Jay out.
Yo, I'm gonna put like a classified ad on the website or something like that. Like
LA friends needed.
You know what I mean? LA podcast friends needed. Let's get to these hot takes, dog.
Boom.
All right, now last week, Tyrone Hankerson, whose last name means in Swahili, caught the L of the century when it was revealed he had embezzled over $430,000 in scholarships and grants as a student employee at Howard University. Allegedly.
Students at Howard University are protesting for the 6th day in a row, occupying the school's administrative building. The group HU Resist is leading the protest. It started after an anonymous blog post alleged that nearly $1 million in financial aid money was misused. The university acknowledged that it launched an investigation and subsequently fired 6 employees, but students say school officials should have been more transparent. One student who has been caught up in this scandal says he is innocent.
Nigga, please.
But the wildest thing about this debacle was how brazen he was in doing so. Tyrone, who Erykah Badu insisted we list as our emergency contact once upon a time, did absolutely nothing to conceal his nefarious ways. Allegedly. As he flaunted a lavish lifestyle full of designer clothes, exotic cars, and trips to countries we can't even pronounce on the gram. So I gotta ask, has Joanne the Scammer been dethroned as the greatest scammer of all time?
The torch has allegedly been passed on to Tyrone.
Allegedly.
Who has the same name as people who are keeping Aaliyah's media off of streaming services.
Oh, yeah, that is Barry Hankerson. My bad, go ahead.
It runs in the family. Anyway, so, yeah, like, to know that this mofo out here, as people are scratching and surviving and sleeping in cars and having breakdowns in a financial aid office trying to get their educations out here, and this fool is out here allegedly flossing and styling and profiling and being a baller and shot caller on government money out here. It's pretty whack. I mean, I've heard from some things from some people who are allegedly who know this person and have said that they were some seedy characteristics that they may have noticed. But it's real out here. I saw that they were like turning up in the financial aid office and swag surfing, and I mean it's really, I mean, we make joke of it, and people were taking it to heart and everything. I mean it's really fucked up. We got our jokes off, but that is a really shitty thing to do. Like, I mean, if it did come out that way, and also whether he's a scapegoat or whatever it turns out to be. I saw him holding strong on these rounds he's making on TV to defend himself, but if it is true, I mean, the fact that he's still in class and he's still going to law school and, you know, trying to have a law career out here. I mean, bless him, bless the students who haven't put hands on him yet. It's a shitty situation all around.
My nigga is just trying to get to that graduation right now. He like, I'm gonna say whatever I can so I can get this degree, because y'all not gonna fuck that up. I feel bad about it because I never had, I don't know if you had, did you go to college?
Some college as I put on applications.
Because I never had like the traditional college experience, because I went into the military and I went to college when I was in the military. And then afterwards I took classes like as an adult. So I never had like that actual college experience. But I mean, you hear so much about, or even, you know, see with other students, like you see that struggle of them like not having money and missing meals and eating ramen, and you know what I mean? So to know that, and especially this being at a HBCU, to know that there were so many students out here struggling for money and trying to really, you know, do things the legit way, and homie out here like hustling and stealing and robbing them of money that they owe, like that shit is foul. I mean, I know my homegirl Key, shout out to Key, she was telling me about how like she's out here trying to finish her degree and they won't give her financial aid. And it's like, it just made me think about like situations like this where like homie is getting over, and I mean $430,000 in financial aid. Like, nigga. I'm rich, bitch!
I mean, apparently that's how much, they say that's how much it should, you know, not all of it, but like, I don't know, schools ain't cheap, especially law school. Then the fact that he was the one in the, like, you know, counseling the students and hearing those frustrations and hearing about that struggle firsthand. And yeah, like you said, especially being at a HBCU, it'd be your own people though.
It'd be your own people. Yeah, and it's just crazy because it's like to even see the pictures and this nigga walking around looking like fucking Floyd Mayweather and shit. Like, it's just like, yo, that whole situation is all bad. I definitely hope that justice is served and let my people go. Give them some more of that financial aid, man. Y'all being greedy. You know what I'm saying? Also last week, disturbing details arose when rapper Fabulous was arrested on charges that he punched his girlfriend, former Love and Hip Hop starlet Emily B, 7 times and dislodged her 2 front teeth.
Fabulous is facing up to 10 years in prison. That's 1 count of 3rd-degree aggravated assault and 1 count of making terroristic threats in the 3rd degree. So, according to the complaint, they're saying that Fab punched Emily B in the head 7 times, causing severe damage to her 2 front teeth that were later medically removed. He also texted her and said that he would hit her in the head with a baseball bat. That's when she sent her father and brother to the home that they shared to remove 2 handguns he had in the house. And that's when you see the video footage of him arriving to the home and screaming to her father that he has a bullet with his name on it.
Has Fab released a statement yet? Is he denying any of these claims?
The only thing he did was on Snapchat, he said sometimes it is best to just be quiet and let God show people.
Well, when he goes to court, it's going to be interesting what God shows people, because I'm sure if there is evidence, all this evidence will be presented. So if he is indeed guilty of this allegation, he should just come clean now.
The situation got uglier when a video surfaced on TMZ of him barking on Emily and her father while brandishing a knife. In said video, children could be heard screaming. Emily's father repeatedly refers to Fab as a coward, and after Fab threatens to put a bullet in Emily's father, he lunges at Emily but is restrained by bodyguards. It's a super ugly situation. So since we already have a blueprint in how a situation like this is handled with Chris Brown, how do we expect the music industry to react to these charges?
It's hard to... Well, first of all, it is a shitty situation, especially since you see that people are already rushing to support Fabulous and question what she may have done to cause or deserve this. Similar to with Rihanna and Chris Brown's situation, you definitely see people whose fandom, it doesn't prevent them from, it fucks with their reason and their logic. I mean, in any other situation where you would know that beating on someone or being abusive or being in that situation is fucked up. But since this person made great music maybe a decade ago, I don't know that. I don't know if it's going to be the same and as swift and as devastating as it maybe was for Chris Brown, especially because Emily is known, but she isn't Rihanna. And there's just a different level of animosity and foolishness that was involved on both sides of that at that time. But I think he may experience some losses. You know, I don't know if it's going to be a loss of a record deal. I don't know who he signed with or what the fuck his situation is. Yeah, I hope he definitely does get some. They get some counseling. She leaves. He gets whatever the fuck he needs to pull his shit together. But I'm not listening to Fabulous, so it's not like I'm missing him.
Yeah. The thing that was disturbing to me was to see so many black men specifically excuse his behavior and come up with like, yo, we don't know both sides. I need to see video, which is all eerily similar of what we hear from white people when we talk about cops killing us. You know what I'm saying?
Message.
Now, obviously, these are not like, the same situation, but there are similarities between the two. You know what I'm saying? It is just BS that men constantly, it's like our default response is to not only side with us, but to be anti-woman. And in this specific instance, anti-black woman. And that's kind of like misogynoir is just so commonly ingrained in this industry. You know what I mean? Like niggas literally get paid millions of dollars to call women bitches. You know what I'm saying? So
it's lucrative.
But what was disturbing to me was that like the same day that the video came out on TMZ, he had a show and nobody in the audience was booing him. Everybody was showing him all this love. And I'm like, literally 5 hours ago, you saw this video of homie brandishing a knife, lunging at his girl. Like this shit is just so deep and so deeply ingrained. And it's just really disheartening that we have this culture of hatred towards women, that their agency and everything else is just dismissed. And it almost feels hopeless because it's like you want to be, as a man, you want to hold other men accountable. And we should, because if we don't, the onus falls on women to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's just like, outside of exterminating all these niggas, what is the solution? Because it's just anti-black womenism is just so firmly entrenched in our DNA. And obviously, it's what's contributed to it to some extent is racism and how like we feel like, okay, we're being oppressed over here, but at least we're not these women. You know what I mean? But it's just, I'm just dismayed that the industry is so forgiving. And as a community, we're so forgiving of this behavior. I definitely believe that people shouldn't be ostracized or isolated prior to due justice. But at the same time, like, the police report specifically stated there's certain things that you can't really lie about. You can't really lie about getting your teeth knocked out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Either she can say, oh, he hit me, and then it'd be like, I don't know. But it's like, nigga, like her teeth got knocked out. It's in the police report. You know what I'm saying?
As far as like the industry being forgiven in the culture, we've already seen that though with R. Kelly and just how much we don't, as a culture and as a society, don't care about black women and girls and, their welfare and what happens to them, just because this is someone with a long documented history of being the biggest shitbag, but he makes bops and he makes things for you to two-step and walk down the aisle or whatever the fuck too. So we forgive and we overlook, all these shitty things that this person's doing, and you let fandom and, these that favorite jam that you had as a ringtone back in the day overlook the humanity of the people that he's, whose lives he's destroying. Like at Fabulous's show, he was thanking his fans for supporting him through hard times after his arrest. And, and they were wrapping their arms around, like loving on, get the fuck out of here. Like it's nothing new.
Yeah. The R. Kelly situation is particularly frustrating because it seems like we can't even come to a consensus of like, R. Kelly ain't shit. Let's stop fucking with him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just frustrating as hell. And I apologize on behalf of all of our dirtbag men that are out here, condoning this behavior. And it's just, I definitely know that I try to be more vigilant and cognizant of my own behavior and the behavior of those around me. And I challenge other black men in this to do the same. Shall we talk about this Patreon situation?
Man, yes. So... Hey there, wonderful, beautiful person listening to my voice in your ear. If you're hearing this, first of all, we appreciate your being here and existing on this earth, and for sharing your hours of the day by listening to the Extraordinary Negroes. And in order to continue doing so, Patreon is a tool that allows you to support us as we continue to create this great content, produce this podcast, keep our website, theextraordinarynegroes.com, up and running, and allow us to have a space for contributors and other wonderful black people in the world to share their stories and share their work with the world. So if you want to continue doing that, anything you have to spare on a monthly basis will help us continue to fight the good fight against terribleness and ashiness. From $1 to $65,000 a month, whatever it is in your heart or bank account to spare, we will gladly appreciate it. And if you are not into Patreon, and if Patreon is not your thing, you can definitely support us at PayPal via PayPal. So on Patreon, that is patreon.com/ is it the Extraordinary Negroes?
Yeah.
And on PayPal, it is, what is that?
PayPal.me/ the Extra Negroes.
Yes,
we take cash, we take credit, we take EBT, you know what I'm saying? We take ones, we will not be judged, you know what I mean? Like anything you can do to help us, we definitely appreciate. Like Alex said, it contributes to, our operating costs. It's part of it's a reason why we're able to do our live show next month. It's a reason why we have, our website and everything going on over there. And speaking of which, what's been going on the website, Alex?
Over on the extraordinarynegroes.com, it's been actually a really good few weeks. If you all have not seen, we followed up our wonderful Extraordinary Negro of the Day series in February by shouting out women with our Extraordinary Women Making History series, where we highlighted a lot of women who are working hard and making history in this gargoyle electing shitbag society. And we were able to also allow some women to tell their stories about, growing into womanhood, relationships with their mother, how they came into themselves as women, stories of self-confidence, freedom, sexuality. And we really wanted to continue providing that space for folks to share their stories as we move into this month, Stress Awareness Month, and also Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So we invite you to send us your ideas for stories, not your full stories, because ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
To submissions at theextraordinarynegroes.com for anything under those two themes and anything you'd like to share, either also to be featured on our Mental Health Monday, which you should be hitting up weekly as well. So we want to hear from you. Tell us your stories. Also, what you think about the content, things you would like to see, features or ideas that you have that you think our audience would be into. We want to hear from you. So holler at us.
Word. And much love to our editor-in-chief, Sin, who has done tremendous work over there and, editing and going through all these submissions, good and bad, and just really, helping to push the brand forward over on the website. So definitely thank her for that. As far as our last episode, we'll name this podcast later. What'd you hear about it?
What I heard was that people were excited to have an episode where it was just the two of us, even though we have great guests and we talk about dope things and, have good topics. Just the two of us to be able to catch up and talk, about what we have going on and go through different topics and just hear more of us talking and hear about what our perspectives on things instead of focusing around guests, which are awesome, like I said. But yeah, just, to hear us for an extended period of time. It was apparently well received by the people. So we need to do more of those, apparently.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. That's what I heard. Yeah, I think it's fun whenever Alex and I get to kind of flex and discuss things on that manner. Hopefully we'll have more opportunities to do so in the future. But yeah, I heard nothing but positive about it. I definitely want to take a moment to thank Jay and Alex for coming on to that.
Shout out to Jay and Alex.
They some real niggas. But who we got on this one?
Basically, on today's episode, we're going to be talking to Elton Anderson and James Bland about their long time work in this industry, killing the game in both the film and photography and media making, and the work that they're doing both together and separately. It's going to be a dope conversation that I am salty that I was not a part of. Definitely.
If you are a big fan of creators of color and everything Elton has going over there, you should definitely get your fix. And to those of you who are big fans of the hit smash Emmy-nominated web series Giants, you are going to get your life because James is going to drop plenty of gems on us, I'm sure. But before we get to that, let's get to some motherfucking shrimp and grits.
Let's go. So Ray asks, I'm new to podcasting and I'm always amazed at the guests you guys have. So from one podcaster to another, how do you get these people on your show?
Did you want me to answer this or did you want to get it?
Well, sure. I'll go. A lot of our guests are people that we, have relationships with. We decide to go after people who we feel our audience who have something of importance to offer to our audience. And we also want to offer and feature people who have great stories to tell. Sometimes it's really just simple as sliding in someone's DMs. If someone we have a relationship with, you slide, text them, call them. Other times, you hit up someone's website and you go to their contact info box, their contact page. And sometimes it's really about just taking a chance. But sometimes if it's a larger guest for someone who we don't have a relationship with, you just got to shoot your shot and see. Sometimes people are busy. Sometimes people are not accepting interviews. Sometimes people are, away or traveling, and you just have to plan around that. But really, it's just about shooting your shot and being strategic about selecting guests who will both, get your audience the type of content and insight that they need to hear, and who will also help you achieve your strategic goals as a business, as a podcast.
Yeah, I think we're also very fortunate in that we're in a situation in which, like, when we first started, we had to do a lot of that. But now we're more so in a situation in which we get hit up by a lot of booking agents, and they'll try to get their clients onto our show. Or, people will shoot their shot with us and be like, hey, I'm a big fan of your show. I love what you guys are doing. I'd love to come on and talk about whatever. even now, a lot of times people are already familiar with the show. So if we reach out to them and we don't have that relationship, a lot of times they're just like, oh, yeah, I fuck with you. Yeah, definitely. I was waiting to find out if you were going to ask. So, yeah, really, it's just a matter of just being confident in who you want and just having, I guess, being strategic in the type of people that we seek out.
Yeah.
So keeping that in mind, if you feel like you would be a good fit for the show, definitely shoot us an email at theextraordinarynegroes@gmail.com, and hopefully we can make it happen.
Just make sure that you're presenting yourself, putting your best foot forward, even though, this is someone that it may be a casual, laid back environment. So just have your shit together before you hit up people also.
Word. And Shannon asks, what do you guys think about Red Lobster's new fried lobster and waffles?
So I haven't had it yet. And I've seen a lot of reviews and I'm hearing mixed reviews, but I need to experience it for myself personally. I'm spiritually required to taste this, so I'm skeptical about the syrup involvement. I'm not.
Why is that?
Because it's a Cheddar Bay biscuit Cheddar Bay waffle, and I just like the waffle and the Cheddar Bay situation and the syrup. I don't know. It strikes me as weird. But I don't know. I feel like it needs something to pull it together texture wise, like a something, make cream, something, but not maybe not a syrup. I feel like they just from what I'm hearing, they just put the Cheddar Bay situation in a waffle iron, and it's just exactly the same thing. But I'm just need to try because I'm fatty on the inside, and I need to know.
I don't know what to think about this whole middle class bougie Roscoe situation that Red Lobster is trying to seize and take over. But I do want to take a second to shout out whoever the hell came up with this idea, because between this and Beyonce, Red Lobster is popping for like the first time since Petey Pablo was a household name. Right. You know what I'm saying? So they doing something right, goddammit. But nothing about Cheddar Bay biscuits topped with a fried waffle and drowned in maple syrup sounds even remotely attractive to me. When I first saw it, I was more so like, what the fuck is this? Like, there was that what's it called whenever you go to like a freak show, that kind of quality about it where you're just like, yo, I just need to experience it just to say that I did, not necessarily because I found it necessarily like delicious or appealing, but it doesn't sound appealing to me. I would never pour a maple syrup over a Cheddar Bay biscuit, so adding lobster on top of it doesn't even sound good. I never thought Red Lobster had particularly delicious lobster to begin with, so I'm just thoroughly confused by this shit. I'm waiting for this trend and this thing to pass, kind of like whenever people had slap bracelets and FUBU sneakers and everything else. So I'm not feeling this. I'm not on this wave, but I appreciate your diligence and your commitment to the cause, Mr. Hardy.
I just have to know and be able to give an honest assessment, because people have been asking, so I'm required as a calorie enthusiast to investigate for the culture.
Well, God bless you, sir. And if you have colorful questions for us that you would like for us to answer on the show, definitely hit us up at theextraordinarynegroes@gmail.com, or you can hit us in the comments on social media. You can tweet us, you can DM us, any way you can get a hold of us, text us, run up on us, in the club, whatever. Definitely get your questions to us. We love answering them on the show. Alex is going to depart. I'm going to knock out this interview, and thank you all. Hailing from Los Angeles, California, Elton Anderson is a photographer, content creator, and the founder of the groundbreaking digital media platform Creators of Color, which celebrates the invaluable contributions of people of color within the entertainment industry. Thus far, it's featured rising stars such as Tiffany Haddish, Yvonne Orji, Black Hollywood mainstays like Jesse Williams, and Elton's unparalleled vision and ambition will continue to shift paradigms and shatter boundaries within the realm of entertainment. And also joining me today is a supreme melanated being and multi-hyphenated content creator by the name of James Bland, who, outside of a CVS receipt list of accomplishments, has blessed us as the co-director of Amanda Seal's scripted comedy, Get Your Life, recently starred in the USA Network's true crime serial, Unsolved, The Murders of Tupac and the Notorious B.I.G., but is most commonly known as the star, executive producer, and showrunner of the smash hit, Emmy-nominated web series, Giants. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hot comb addicts, and faithful do-rag disciples, Elton Anderson, and James motherfucking Bland. Give it up, y'all, gentlemen.
Secure your leave out.
That was the best introduction I've ever had in my life. You speaking at my funeral.
Nigga, I got you, man.
Before I take dumps, everything.
Yo, can you please send that to me because I'm putting it in my bio.
Yo, I'm the eulogy king. I got y'all.
Well, I got a few fake obituaries out in the world.
Word,
so yeah,
word,
bro.
Word.
So I need that.
Word. So thank y'all for coming on the show. But let's address the elephant in the room. Bali.
Oh.
Bali.
We're going right there, huh?
We're gonna start with Bali with all the greased up, oiled up abs, the taco meat. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole situation. What's the story behind? Wait. Did you guys intentionally set out to break the internet? A yes or no will suffice.
No, that's never the purpose.
What was the story behind that situation?
So for the people that are listening, this is Elton Anderson, and every year. I have a birthday. And on that birthday...
Do you?
Yes. And on that birthday, for the last 4 years, I've been getting a little extra. And so, as a photographer, and then a lot of my friends are creatives, James being an amazing director, videographer, cinematographer.
Word.
My best friend, Pooja, is an amazing stylist. My other good friend, Jessica, is... an amazing, just travel influencer. So long story short, I wanted to bring all of our talents together and create something special that was pretty personal for me. I looked at, you remember that picture of all them people in Harlem?
Yes.
It's called A Great Day in Harlem.
Great Day in Harlem, yeah.
Yeah, and so I was always inspired by that photo. I'm I would love to have all my peoples dressed up, suited up, booted, and just taking timeless pictures for me. And so when we talk about breaking the internet, I think
ABC News, holla at your boy.
Right. I think the reason why they do go viral is because there's an authenticness to them.
You notice how you said they multiple times, nigga, this is just an annual event where I break the internet.
It is. The first year we did our RV trip through California.
Okay.
The second year we did Brazil. Year 3 was Morocco, and this year was Bali, as you mentioned. So
with the jewel tones,
Pooja, and tell us what to wear, and we get it together. So, but no, yeah, like I said, I think the people can really see that we are authentically friends. Even if it's your first trip, you leave with friends. You might leave with a boo, but we have good times on the trip, and I think the pictures just show just a peek into how much fun we have. But
yo, you had Latasha out here stressing, dog.
Yeah, people do stress over that one look.
Yo, I got to get right for next month. I was like, yo, you be cool. She's like, no, nigga, I got to skip these meals.
Nah, it's serious because, when you first start going on the trips and you get this style guide and, going international, sometimes you want to pack as light as possible. And so you're really not trying to figure out how to pack a suit. You're not trying to carry a garment bag all the way to Bali. And so I think we've all experienced, for those of us who are vets or in our junior or senior year of Camp Conrad, where either we personally slacked on the actual wardrobe or we saw someone else slack, and then you get there and you see how everybody else is really coming with it and everybody looks good. You're like, damn, I wish I would have just put a better effort towards, because ultimately these pictures are timeless. These pictures are gonna outlive us. And so
the pictures gonna end up in ABC News.
Yeah
They may end up somewhere else.
Hey,
we'll talk about that later.
My nigga, hey, that's what I like to hear. All right, so at what point would each of you say your creative journeys began? I'll start with James.
Man, my creative journey actually began, I would say, I've always been a creative. And so as a kid, probably when I was 4 years old, I was that kid who I always got color pencils and sketchbooks for Christmas and for my birthday. I was that kid that would spend all day putting a talent show together in the garage. And when my parents got home, I made them sit down and watch me sing, dance, and perform. So I've always been a creative. But in terms of realizing that I wanted to be a creative professionally, was college around junior year was when I decided to be a filmmaker. So I studied business at Florida A&M University. I thought I would, maybe go off and get a corporate job. Ended up auditioning for some student films. Ended up at Florida State University on my first set and was like, yo, this is this is pretty cool.
Yeah, this is the move.
This is the move. And so I think I made my first feature film my senior year at FAM, premiered it in our student auditorium. In that moment of watching that film in front of a studio, in front of an audience, was when I really decided, I want to do this full time.
Word. Now, I know, Elton, I know you got an interesting story in how you transitioned into photography, but I don't know if that's necessarily how your creative journey began. So how did you exactly begin your journey as a creative?
Well, I'll say this. I can say that from a young age, I was two things. I wasn't a creative, but I was always a dreamer and I was always a hard worker.
Yeah.
And so whatever I applied those two things to, it always kind of worked out. So, I had never had a camera in my life. I had always worked towards being something in business. Went to FAMU for business, graduated, was working in corporate America, did all my internships in corporate America. And then about 10 years ago, I got my first camera. And 2 years after that, I quit my job. And
swag.
That's it was the scariest moment of my life, but it was also has been the most rewarding thing ever. And so, every day I'm evolving. So this journey, this journey is intense, but it's one that's been very, very fruitful. So if y'all listening, take that leap, y'all.
Yeah, so obviously photography is a very visual medium, but what is it about photography that allows you to express yourself creatively?
I think for me, I'm a people person. If you can't tell, I am an extrovert. I just thrive off of being around people. And so I just use photography as my medium to meet amazing people. And what I'm doing with Creators of Color is a lot of times I'm looking at people that inspire me. I'm looking at the disruptors, the creators, the icons.
Yeah.
Everybody, like I said, we work with everybody from Tiffany Haddish to Issa Rae to Eve to Jussie Smollett, and the list is going to keep growing and growing. And with marrying Creators of Color and my photography work, able to hear their stories, able to have them tell their journeys of people that inspire me is really greater than what I ever thought I could be as a photographer, and greater than whatever I could think I could be as a creative. So
yeah. What about you, James? What made you decide that, or I guess recognize that, like, film and television would be your vehicle of choice?
Yeah, it was the thing that I felt I was really good at. I was always somewhat of a storyteller. Like, I love telling stories. And when I discovered, filmmaking, I also connected the dots that this was my ministry, in the sense of this was going to be the way that I was going to be able to really touch, people. And I always had a desire to do something that had impact and significance. And filmmaking for me was going to be that thing, in particular because I would think about the way I felt, at times going to see a film, and, you leave the theater and there are certain films that completely transform you.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to be able to, like, just play some type of a role and part in making people feel that type of way. And so, I think for me, that's what really drove me towards filmmaking.
So as you guys being creatives, at what point did your journeys intersect?
Ooh, who should tell the story, James?
Is this about to be some hoe shit?
So, no.
It was a big ass order.
That's a fair assumption.
Hey, bro, I'm not even mad.
But continue.
Well, I would say our paths crossed when, all right, so Elton and I, we both went to Florida A&M, and we both pledged Alpha at FAMU. But Elton's a little bit older than me. He's a little bit more seasoned than I.
Lowry's. I like to think of myself as a cumin.
Cumin.
That's a little cumin.
That's
a little spicy, little.
I'm like garlic salt. And so I moved to LA right out of undergrad. Elton was in Miami being a pharmaceutical salesman, and I was in LA.
That's good money, brother. All the money.
I was in LA at the time. I started out working at Sony Screen Gems as an intern at Will Packard, and then I stayed at the studio and became a production assistant. And so around the time Elton really started, I guess, taking photography seriously, he started coming to LA to do test shoots, and he would always hit me up to pick him up from the airport.
But can we talk about Coco Love really quick?
Okay, let's talk about Coco Love.
Because James created this short film called Coco Love that is probably one of my favorite pieces of work that he's done. And he doesn't talk about it enough. Like, I always want people to watch this film, but I was inspired by James. You know how you watch people and you don't know if you can make that leap, but I was inspired by James doing his thing, he did a feature-length film on a student's budget.
Yeah.
Like, he did all these amazing things and moved out to LA. And so I think we have to go back, James, because one of the first times we really hung out was James was doing a mission trip to Swaziland, which is a country that's surrounded by South Africa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, he was asking for donations as he went on this trip. And, I was one of the people that definitely sent him a little, I think it was like $50. I think I was cheap.
While you were a pharmaceutical change?
Well, I was in transition. But, one of the days, he asked for, I was a photographer at this point, but early on. And so he asked for, he was just, people were donating to his trip.
Word.
And then I was like, I don't just want to give money. I would love to give my time and take pictures if they could use me. And lo and behold, I got a call back from him like a day later, and next thing I know, like it was maybe like something crazy. Like 5 days later, me and him flew to Swaziland and spent like almost 2 weeks out there capturing all these things for this mission trip. And me and James weren't super close before.
Yeah.
But I think that trip solidified our friendship and solidified like our creative paths together for sure.
Yeah. And then fast forward, I would say, so that was 2010, because I quit my job at Sony to go on that mission trip. I was ready to go. I was ready to leave the studio system and really start focusing on creating my own content. And so I used also that mission trip as an opportunity to make a short documentary on this organization. And so you moved so from 2010 to what, 2013?
I moved to LA in 2012.
Oh, 2012. So 2 years later, Elton moved to LA. I was living in a studio apartment in North Hollywood. And Elton decided to move to LA to, pursue photography full time here.
Yeah.
And
I
he
lived
became
on
my
his
roommate.
and I lived on his love seat.
I had a love seat, my nigga.
Not no full couch, not a pull out sofa, a sleeper sofa, a love seat.
A love seat. It wasn't no AC.
In the valley in the summer.
Wait,
it was hot.
Did you pay rent?
Yeah.
You paid rent on a love seat with no AC?
I paid $500.
Nigga, you sold a seed.
You sold a seed. But let me tell you how that was a blessing, because at the time I was working 2 jobs. I was working at a restaurant as an administrative assistant during the day, and at night I was folding clothes at Abercrombie and Fitch, and I was struggling to make that rent. And when Elton decided to move to LA, I was like, bro, come on, because you're going to split this rent with me.
Got him. Was happy.
Come on, man.
Got him.
And I was auditioning to that car. The day. Oh, yeah. We had one car.
They paid for all utilities and a free meal every other week.
Yup. And used to take the train. I remember when Elton was going to do shoots for like $50.
$50.
Literally shooting events.
You came a long way, my nigga.
And this was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So, that time just showed me, and it just showed us that if you move out here, I think LA is a great place to really be anything you want and to create yourself. And one thing that I really like about LA is, I don't know if it's called lateral growth or peer-to-peer growth or whatever you want to call it, but you could come out here and meet like-minded people that are all trying to achieve the same thing, and you can all rise up together. And I think that's the beautiful part about LA, because I've been able to stand shoulder to shoulder with so many people that we were all living on couches or all living on mattresses. James was on that mattress. Listen. He didn't get a bed frame until
we moved to Koreatown.
Like, he was on a mattress for 2 years.
I was on a mattress for like 4 years.
For like 4 years.
Because when I first moved to LA, I got a mattress because a girl who's currently in Giants, her name is Joy.
Shout out to Joy.
She needed a place to stay for like a week. And so she moved her stuff in, mattress included, and then she moved out and she never came back to get the mattress. So I took that mattress with me to every single apartment that I ever went to, including the apartment that
thing
Elton
stayed on the floor until about 2013.
Never got a frame.
And so, so I could just see, I just want to speak to that because I can just see the growth. And it's like, as you're growing with each other, a lot of times people want to reach higher.
Yeah.
And it's like, everything you have is within you and beside you. And if you start looking up and start looking forward too much for what you think you need, you're missing something that's standing right beside you. So
that's a word right there. I like to say that everything that you need is in the house. that you never really have to look outside of the house if you have a strong community around you. And I think that's been a beautiful thing about our group of friends is we have, man, so many resources at our fingertips because we've surrounded ourselves and we made a family of just really dope creatives where if I need a photographer, I call Elton. If I need a costumer or a stylist, I'll call, a Pooja. There's really nothing that I've needed, even in doing Giant season 2, where I didn't have to look outside of just my creative circle and my creative family.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's a great point too, is that like so many times people come to LA and they hear about like, this is a great city to create a community. And it really is. It's like, if you go outside and really pursue these relationships, everything you're going to find. And that's a big reason why, it was important that, we did our mixer, is that like, you want to help people to have that same family and have those same resources at their fingertips. Cause that can be the difference between you sitting, sleeping on a corner and you sleeping in a mansion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we all got a mansion coming.
True story.
Facts. Y'all niggas ain't got mansions already?
Not yet.
Not yet. It's coming.
Working on it. Yep. Now everybody knows you from Giants, obviously.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know that you kind of cut your teeth on Amanda Seals' project, Get Your Life. How did that project allow you to sow the seed that you're reaping today?
Yeah, for sure. So, a lot of folks don't know that Giants is my 5th digital series. Before Giants, it was Fail. Fail was the very first web series that I created, wrote, directed, and starred in LA. And it actually starred King Batch before he was this big Bond star.
Yeah.
And it was actually created by myself and Vanessa Baden-Kelly, who plays Journey in Giants. And so from there, I did a show called Debt Collectors, did a show called Wingman Purgatory, did a show called First on Issa's channel, which did extremely well. And then that led me to do Get Your Life, with Amanda Seals. Yeah. And literally, Amanda moved to Los Angeles. She knew Issa, and she told Issa she wanted to do a show. Issa was like, dope, I'll put it up on the channel. But Amanda didn't really have a creative network and circle yet here in LA because she had been in New York for so long.
Yeah.
And so Issa was like, yo, you got to meet James. Like, James has been doing amazing, content and work on my channel, connected us, and Amanda and I just immediately, just clicked.
Yeah.
And so I actually shot the entire first season. And it's crazy because I wasn't really a DP. I was shooting like content. I was doing a lot of behind the scenes for Elton on all of his photo shoots. I was doing a lot of just BTS, like unscripted.
Yeah.
And Amanda's show, and she may not even she might not know this, was the first scripted project that I just fully shot.
Yeah.
So I shot that for her, and I also co-directed it, with her. And then season 2, I just, acted in the show. But ultimately, everything that I've done, including Get Your Life, prepared me to do Giants because it afforded me the opportunity to learn what works, what doesn't work, and it kind of provided a gym, for myself to work out. And so I was able to strengthen my creative muscles as a director. I kind of was able to perfect my eye, as a director and also as a shooter. And then, also seeing what works in terms of marketing, in terms of how do you really get a digital, show out and really build an audience. And so like Issa, I would say, was kind of that first example, and watching her do Awkward Black Girl. And then from there, like every project that I've done up into Giants has been preparing me to do the show.
So now that your show is out and it's killing in its 2nd season and you've been nominated for an Emmy, how does it feel to slap Emmy nominate? Like, fuck Mister. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can start your name with Emmy nominate. Like, how does that feel? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it feels amazing. I'll say this. I was surprised. This was not something that, in terms of the whole Emmy nomination, that I had really thought about. I just wanted to make a good project. I remember my biggest fear with Giants was, what if I do all of this and nobody gave a fuck?
Yeah, like, that's real. As
like,
creator.
What if nobody just cared? Like, nobody watched it, nobody talked about it.
Yeah.
Because I've done projects like that where you put it out and it's just like hush, it's silence, it's crickets. You always have a few supporters and your friends and your family, but to have just complete strangers or to have the Academy recognize the show, it's a reminder for me that I'm enough. Because there's been a lot of times where I've doubted myself and my ability. And it's also a reminder that I am on the right course. And that's been another struggle for me here in LA, because there are times where you really question, am I doing the right thing? Should I be doing something else? And not something else in the sense of should I be searching for a different career, but am I pursuing directing, writing, and acting in the proper way? And, you know, Elton and I would sometimes have these conversations like, am I collabing with the right people?
Yeah.
Am I networking enough? Like, should I just focus on directing right now and kind of find some success just in this one area and then maybe try to transition into acting? Or like, for example, Regina King's a great example. She became a phenomenal actress and now she's transitioning into directing. And that was kind of the way of Hollywood, where they said you had to master one lane first. And then once you get above the line, then you can move laterally, then you can do other things.
Yeah.
But there's a generation, in particular us millennials, where we've decided, no, I kind of want to do it all right now.
Yeah.
And I could never really shake that, but I never really knew if that was going to pay off or if I was just going to be this guy that was out here, you know, constantly, you know, making these projects that never really kind of took off. And so for Giants to reach this level of success, it's just a reminder that you just got to trust your journey. And for me, I've always just kind of been a bit stubborn in the sense of, this is the way I want to do it. Yeah. Even when it didn't kind of look right or folks would give me other ideas, I was like, I feel like this is the way I'm supposed to do it.
You got to trust your
And I trusted my journey.
Yeah. I think that. Oh, go ahead, man.
Oh no, I was just gonna speak to his journey, because I've been somebody who's watched his journey, and I think, you know, not just only trusting your gut, but doing the work. Like, if he mentioned several people that he's worked with, from Amanda Seales to Issa Rae to even myself, and even though he's friends with all three of us, our relationships are still anchored in work. Yeah. We can go on trips, we can go to Bali, we can go everywhere, twerk, drink, and do whatever. But if we got somewhere to be at 6 a.m. call time and do that, James is always there at 5:45, ready to go and ready to work. And I'm sure he brought that same work ethic to Issa Rae. He brought that same work ethic to Amanda Seales, and he brought that same work ethic to Giants, and that's why it's paid off. So, you know, I just hope your listeners can kind of say, like, you know, oh, I want to go out here, chase my dreams. I want to go out here and network, cut off the net, and do the work.
Message.
Ooh, you out here? You've been talking
That's
to
a
you,
word
Nick,
right there. Hey, Elton, we can put that on shirts, dog.
Word.
Is that like something you made up, or
you know what? It's trademark.
Okay.
I just came up with that, but we can.
We're gonna work on that. We'll work on that. Now, Elton, your track record is equally as impressive. You shot everybody from like Tiffany Haddish to Issa to Jussie to everybody, but what made you decide to create your own platform and create as a color? So
initially it started off as a response to Oscar So White. Mm-hmm. I wanted to
shout out to April Rain. She's been on the show too.
Yes. And so that was back in 2016. And so I was just like, you know, with the whitewashing of the Oscars, I was like, there needs to be more visibility of not only people in front of the camera, but we need a lot of people behind the camera. We need people that are making decisions, like the producers, like costumers, like sound engineers. Like if we can have
executives,
if we can have black people or people of color, period, and diversity in all those spaces, then there won't ever be a time where it's like the decision makers are all 50 plus white men that just want to make the decision. So that's how it started. And then it's since evolved because we have an arm that's now focused on video.
Yeah.
And so even going behind the pictures, you know, James contributed a lot to the early times and even now. So now we're putting out videos that go along with the portraits because we want to understand the journey. We want to have, I equate it to almost a masterclass of what these people had to do. So yeah, we see Tiffany making us laugh all the time, but you know, what was it like when she was first starting out, when she had to take care of a whole family as a sister, you know? And so now, you know, ultimately I want Creators of Color to speak to two different versions of me. So first of all, to the 14-year-old Elton, to show him that, you know, he can be anything. And then the 24-year-old Elton that was working in corporate America and felt like he was stuck and like, wow, there's an opportunity for me to go beyond these four walls of this cubicle and make something happen. So, you know, it's about community, it's about color, and more importantly, it's just about, you know, disrupting what's already happening.
Yeah, and it's just so important as a connoisseur of this type of content to see those kind of representations, because it makes you want to, there are writers, there are directors, there are producers, there are people like that are behind the scenes, and I can do that too. You know what I'm saying? So also, one of the things people love about you is your IG game. People fuck with those IG stories heavy. You know what I'm saying? I had somebody telling me about how, like, damn, I'm about to go to Bali. I'm trying to see what them niggas out there doing. You know what I'm saying? So what makes you decide to share your story?
Well, I think for me, travel is something that's another love of mine. You know, outside of photography, outside of working with creators of color, I love travel, man. I've been to 57 countries and counting. And so I love to inspire other people to get up and get out, because I didn't get my first passport till I was 26, 27. Like, you know, I feel like I started late in the game, and I'm like, if in less than 10 years I can go to 57 countries, then anybody can do it. And I think, you know, it gets addictive. So for me, it's fun for me to share. It's fun for me to take people along on a trip and really bring people in so they can start hopefully inspire the next group of people to go.
Yeah. And how was, you know, travel between, you know, each of you? How has travel kind of influenced your creative input?
Ooh, that's a good one right there.
That's what I do, son.
Yeah, I think for me, in terms of traveling with friends, has really shown me that our story is extremely unique and that it's aspirational. You know, in terms of when we go on these trips and we share our experience and our journey, that we get hit up by so many folks who are like, how do y'all do this? Like, this is goals, these are squads. And so it's, even though this the experience of being Black and abroad is definitely booming and growing, and there are tons of Black folks who are out there like getting it and, you know, going. I think what we have and what Elton has cultivated with his birthday trips is really unique, because I don't really see like 28 like Black people, you know, embarking on these international trips. And so
I took about 20 with me to Belize, but I ain't bragging.
Okay. You know,
I seen the pictures of y'all in that field too. I seen it.
Well, let me run it back. Let me say 28 Black people traveling abroad and doing ad-worthy photo shoots that could grace the pages of Vogue. How about that? Or Vanity Fair.
Right.
Let's do that.
Right.
And so it's inspired me, because I'm like, man, like there's stories in this. And whether it's a documentary or unscripted type of project, even I know I'm going to be able to pull from these experiences, and it's just broadened my perspective in terms of the things that I can create, even in my scripted projects, in terms of characters. And like, even if I wanted to write a scene where characters go to Bali, I have that experience now. So I think that's really how it's influenced me. It's just giving me a pool of things that I can now pull from my real life that I can now place in my creative work.
Yeah. What about you, Elton?
I think for me, it's a twofold, because I do I do these huge trips with 28, 30 people, which I love, but I also take time out to do solo trips. And I think those are like some of the most richest trips of my life. Like, I've been to Chile by myself, Iceland, Vietnam, Brazil, all these different places alone, 100% by myself. And that's an opportunity for me to recharge, and also opportunity for me to do some self-reflection, because, you know, at the end of the day, we're only left with ourselves, you know, when we're creating. And so for me, when I think of like creating, that's the closest I am to like God or like prayer or meditation, because, you know, God was the ultimate creator. And so, you know, as I'm creating, I feel closest to that being. And so, you know, as I'm traveling, I get to reflect and also think about other things to create. So that's just where I am with it.
Now, you guys have talked about how travel has influenced your creativity, but how has your brotherhood propelled you guys' careers forward?
Well, I'm gonna start on this one.
Oh, go for it.
Tears are allowed.
No, I just always brag on James and Apuje. I would be so remiss not to mention his name as well. And these are two of my closest friends in the world. And again, like I said, we have partied, we have been drunk, we have wiped each other's off the floor. Apuje doesn't drink, but he has wiped us off the floor. But I know that these guys put in the work. And they, you know, outside of just me, I know that if I call on them for a project, they will bring the A game that, how like sometimes people don't take care of your shit.
Is you the homie?
Yeah, like, what I'm saying? Like sometimes people just kind of half-ass it, like, well, that's my boy no matter what. It's like their work ethic is like, it blows my mind and it's so inspiring. It's like, I know they are, me and Apooja had a shoot this morning and at 8 a.m. and he brought his hot fire. And so it's like we worked on jobs. I worked on jobs where we made tens of thousands of dollars on. And we worked on jobs for free, and it's the exact same level of work ethic. So I see that in these two gentlemen, and that always makes me say, let me step my game up. And you know what they say, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, man.
That's
I would say
follow up, dog.
because I've told Elton this. Like, Elton has inspired me in so many ways, not only from this whole creative path, but also just as a person. Like, Elton helped to set me free, to find myself. I will be completely honest in that, because Elton has lived his life in a way where he's just been very unapologetically himself. And he's walked in his truth, even when I didn't have the courage to do that. And it was so inspiring because you would see Elton just be so authentic in who he was and just really speak his truth, and people still fuck with him. Like, people still loved him, and you're like, oh shit, like I can be that and people will still love me. Word. And so Elton was like that first example. And then I would say from the career perspective, I remember when I was working the desk job. Elton had quit the pharmaceutical sales, was doing photography. He would come to LA and he would have these photo shoots, and I would be at work. He would stay in my apartment, him and Apooja, and I would be in the office all day. But I would like watch them on Twitter. At the time, Twitter was popping. Instagram wasn't really popping. And they would go to a photo shoot, and then they would spend the rest of the day at a coffee shop, meeting folks, or editing photos, or working on the next job. And I would be like in this office while they'll be on Venice Beach, but still working. And I just remember looking at Elton and telling myself, I want to live like that. Like, that is the way I want my life to be structured. And so Elton, for me, was that first example of me being able to see a black man as an entrepreneur, a creative, and making money and still being able to travel and not have to pour all of yourself and your time into someone else's dream, but you can actually pour all of that energy into your own dream and live life on your own accord. And Elton was a part of me just waking up one day and deciding that I don't have to live life the way I've been told in terms of this kind of rat race of a 9 to 5. And for some people, that's cool. For some people, they find passion in that. But for me, it was a rat race, and it was something that I really didn't aspire, to do. But I saw Elton doing it, and I was like, okay, I see how he structures his life. And I'll never forget Elton and I sat down one day, and he was like, yo, why don't you just do videography? Because I was telling him, I'm a filmmaker, I'm an actor, I'm all of these things, but I still have to figure out a way to make money. And he said, do videography. Like, I can get you so many jobs shooting weddings or doing behind the scenes. And I was like, well, how am I going to get a camera? I can't afford a camera. I don't have credit cards. I don't have money saved. And this nigga looked at me with the blankest face, blinked his eyes, and said, figure it out. Like, that's not my burden. Like, that's for you to figure out. And I remember I went to work that night, and I spent all night figuring out how to get a camera. And within, I would say 3 weeks, I had a camera, and I left that job, and we was off to, live full-time creative lives.
That's the realest shit though, because it's like, it's always dope to have like that friend that just knows how to put that battery in your back. And not the one that's gonna sit there and hold your hand.
I'm not here to hold your hand. Nigga, like, figure that shit out, because we've all had to figure it out along the way. I'm here to support you. I'll throw you an alley-oop. If you do the work and you do good work. Like, Elton has brought me so many projects and so many jobs when I was doing videography. Like, we done been to Mexico shooting weddings. We done been to St. Lucia or Virgin Islands. Like, we literally traveled the world just doing projects, but a lot of it would be Elton would get the job as a photographer, and then they would want a videographer, and he'd be like, oh, I got the perfect person. And that's how, I made a living for at least 3 to 4 years.
That's real dope.
And we can have a good time. You could travel with people that you genuinely like, that you genuinely fuck with, that's your brother, that you want to see win. And Elton has also helped me. One more kudos to Elton in terms of me learning my worth. Because when we first started, like, Elton would tell me to charge a certain rate, but because I didn't feel like I was worth that, I would charge way less. and he would be so frustrated with me.
Yes.
And so he also helped me to learn that you set your worth, you set your value, and you really gotta, honor and live up to that. And so, it's a lot of lessons I've gotten from this guy.
Oh my gosh. My heart is full.
I feel like y'all need to hug it out or something. No, but so obviously mental health is very important, and it's touched upon on the Giant series as well as this show. It's an underlying theme. How did the two of you balance your workload, your success, and your mental health?
Brunch. Sunday brunch.
Mimosas?
Well, I'm telling you, because Sunday brunch is like therapy. I think, we have a really close-knit group of friends where, so like yesterday I was at brunch and somebody randomly asked, what makes you happy? And it was a group of us there, and we all kind of collectively said each other, like this friend group that we're in genuinely like brings us joy and makes us happy. I would say like my friends are a big part of my self-care, my mental health, because it's like the time where I cannot think about work and just really have a good time. And then also because this is the group that I get to travel the world with, being able to get away and just get out of the race that you sometimes find yourself in LA in terms of trying to get it every day. Like, we got to get it. We got to get this next job. We got to, get more and more successful. And for me, taking that time to just put it down, like go to Bali, helps me to recharge and rejuvenate. And so going to the spa, working out, which is things that I do with these guys as well. So.
Word. What about you, El?
For me,
other than Little Caesars.
You will not put my trash in these streets, okay? They had a deal today, y'all. Anyway, no, man, I think, I have a tattoo on my arm, and it is a poem by Rudyard Kipling called If. And one of my favorite lines is, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. And so what that means to me is just kind of go with the flow. Like, I have peaks and valleys mentally, creatively, all the time. Like I can almost set my watch to like every 6 to 8 months I get like a little in a creative funk. Yeah. And that affects my mentals. Like, that's my happy place. But the thing is that, I try to make sure that I'm always like creating something. So when I'm going through those funks, I always make sure like, look, I have to do something to get this out. And it just always works, man. It just always works. So like for me, like creating stuff and putting things together and traveling is my therapy. And I know that I could say this and be 100% certain that I'm just as happy and like internally happy right now sitting here on this couch talking to you guys as I am on a beach in Bali or on a mountaintop in Chile. And that's because I don't really like live in the past and I don't live in the future. I don't live in like, oh, high school was so fun. I wish I was back there. I don't live in, oh, I'm about to go here in 3 months. I can't wait. It's like I live in the now. And once you start realizing that the present is really a present, then I think that
I saw what you did there.
I think it'll take a lot of stress away from people as well.
Yeah.
That's a word.
Yeah. It's just, I'm just overwhelmed by, the Reverend Deacon Pastor over here.
Yes.
What's next on the horizon for each of you?
Yeah. So for me, definitely doing a third season of Giants.
Is that confirmed?
It's definitely confirmed.
Because the streets want to, the streets
Nah, it's definitely confirmed. When it's coming out, I don't know, but we will definitely do a season 3. So we're finishing out the season right now. Episode 206 drops this Wednesday, and we have an hour season finale. Yeah. And then I'll go into season 3. And then I'm also developing a few other shows that, I don't have like release dates or anything like that, but know that in addition to Giants, that you will see more scripted projects from James Bland that still has, some of the essence, the characters, the comedy, yet the spirituality that you've grown to love in Giants, that you'll be able to see those in different characters who are living different experiences beyond Malachi Journey in a day.
And how many episodes are in this second season?
7.
7. Okay.
Yeah, so 6 half-hour and an hour finale.
Are we gonna get another episode full of people fucking like the 3rd episode?
There is some fucking in the season finale. Yes. There is
You
some
old
fucking,
creep.
A little nudity. I show a little bit more cakes. Yeah.
More cakes.
More cakes.
I've been saving my Giants episodes. Like I stopped on episode 3 and I'm like stacking them up because I'm gonna just have a whole.
You gonna binge?
I'm gonna have a whole binge fest. I can't wait. So I'm gonna probably binge on this Thursday after.
See, we got lucky because at the premiere they were back to back. So you were like, oh, okay, we good.
I don't call it lucky because I'm like, damn, I gotta wait.
That's real. That's real.
I can't wait for you to see episode 5, Ellen. It's gonna fuck you up, bro.
You gonna see yourself in there.
I'm saving it. I'm saving it. I am saving it.
Yeah.
Now, Elton, what you got coming up?
Man, right now, a lot of really cool projects. I think, we talked off tape before, but this year I really want to, I get so many messages and just really, I read everybody's DMs, text messages, emails, everything. And they're always, it's always like, yo, you really inspire me. You live in life. You show me how to live. And I'm so humbled by it. It's not like, oh, well, shit, I got this. I do this. It's never, that's never my intention. Yeah. And so, I kind of made a promise to myself that I would make this year about helping people live their best lives. And so many different amazing opportunities have been coming. So I've been invited to teach different master classes, which I can't wait to share. I'm going to record it on Wednesday. Yeah. I'm doing panels. I'm teaching workshops. I'm doing some speaking and
get to the bag.
And so
get to the bag.
Yeah, it is, but it's not even about the money. It is about we'll get my checks though, but more importantly, it's like I'm trying something else. Like, I did business. I still a photographer. Crazy Color is really taking off. And, even I had that Chase commercial, and like I said, that showed me that I could do anything. So yeah, man, it just, it's a lot of things I can't say, but, you'll see, I want to be able to be more of a life architect, if that's the thing.
Yes, title. Add that to your bio on Instagram.
Word, life architect. Word. Now, we have reached the point of the show where we explore our Extraordinary Negroes of the Week. What we do is each of us discuss one person who has been heavy on our hearts this week that did something extraordinary that we want to give them a shout out. I'll go first to get it out the way so that y'all can get an idea of what it's like. My Extraordinary Negro of the Week, I was thinking about making it a China Stroller. That's what I was thinking about making it.
Who was China Stroller?
You ain't see the video?
Bitch, I told you stop.
She got in a fight at Six Flags.
She was throwing that stroller around.
Bro, yes.
Her name is Black China.
Black China.
Fought somebody at Six Flags.
Fought somebody with a stroller. I was gonna make that my Extraordinary Negro of the Week, but I'm trying to walk with God today. So instead, my Extraordinary Negro of the Week is Craig Mack, because we obviously lost him. Rest in peace. Yeah. He was a pioneer. Everybody knows Flavor in My Ear. Anytime you have a song that can define an entire genre and era, I mean, that's legacy right there. So definitely keeping his family in our thoughts. And yeah, Craig Mack was that nigga, man. So anybody you guys got your Extraordinary Negro of the Week?
I got one. With the Easter Sunday holiday just passing.
Yes, sir.
I think my Extraordinary Negro of the Week is, that little fat that be on like Big Mama's arms, like under the bicep?
Elton, I hate you.
that fat that like jiggles.
I'm not fucking with you, man.
And let me tell you why. Because anybody with that arm fat,
they can cook their ass.
Their macaroni and cheese. You gonna eat all their potato salad. You gonna eat their greens. They know how to put that ham hock in there, let it slow simmer.
When they get to spinning,
spinning, you can trust their arm and that food. So that's it goes out to, I don't want to shame anybody. Mamas out here I want to get my arms together. No, don't shame that. That's some magic in there.
That's what is it? The hungry arms?
That's that.
Ooh.
That wave.
Ooh. Who you got, James?
You know what? I'm gonna give him mine since Elton went with the arm fat. Which is for the culture.
For the culture.
I want to stay for the culture lane. But mine goes out to Ryan Coogler. Because if we can think about what this movie Black Panther has done, it's now the highest grossing superhero film in American history, which is incredibly phenomenal. But I was just watching a video on Facebook where it was like a bunch of clips of all of these different black athletes from around the world, where they're all throwing up the Wakanda Forever sign, like when they make a goal in soccer, or they score in tennis, or they score in basketball. And it's become a symbol of just black unity and black excellence all over the freaking globe because of this one film. And when I even think about with us going to Bali and the photo that we created, a lot of the comments was like, Wakanda is real. Like, we found Wakanda forever. And just the overall cultural impact that this movie has just had on the culture overall, I think is phenomenal. So I'm going to give the credit to Ryan Coogler as the director of that film. He is the extraordinary Negro of 2018.
The whole year.
Because everything, if you think about it, everything is going to be, how like they say before Christ and after, like literally everything is going to be before Black Panther and after like it's a whole
before
shift
BP.
After BP.
After BP.
That's real.
Yeah.
So thank y'all for coming through. Where can people find y'all in these internet streets?
Yeah, so you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JR Bland. And you can find Giants at Giants the Series on all social media platforms.
Word. Elton?
And I can be found on Twitter and Instagram at Elton Anderson Jr., JR. And I will be on, Creators of Color as well.
Swag.
So check both of those platforms out.
Where we're in YouTube. Don't forget YouTube.
We're on YouTube, website being redone.
Yes.
Come through.
Yes. And if you're at home and you love what you hear, whether you're in your car, wherever else, and you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, or your podcast platform of choice. If you love what you're hearing, also make sure you drop us a review, tell a friend or 50, and in the immortal words of Combat Jack, dream those dreams and man up and women up and live those dreams, because a life without dreams is black and white, and the universe flows in technicolor and surround sound. Blow. Peace out, y'all.